Howdy folks, Jacob of Ephraim here. It is approximately 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on January the 11th, 2023. Hope our creator is keeping you well and safe wherever you are in the world. Please make sure to hit that like button and share this across other platforms so we can let people know what's going on out in our solar system and the effects it can have here on our planet. Folks, I'm over here at spaceweather.com and this is actually from the 10th. This is from yesterday. Technically, it would be from 2 days ago because they go by UTC time. Let's all scroll down here to the bottom here a little bit, shall we? Now this is kind of going over the CMEs and the flares that we had. But actually the thing that I want to kind of focus in on is right here. The solar flare causes rare magnetic crochet. What? The X-flare of January 9th did something rare. It jerked Earth's magnetic field. Here is a composite of the magnometer recordings from Boulder, Colorado, Honolulu, Hawaii, and Fredericksburg, Virginia. Look at these spikes. That's very interesting. Now, this is just from the X-flare radiation. This has nothing to do with coronal mass ejection. There was no coronal mass ejection coming our way. This is just from the intensity of the flare. Folks, I've never seen this. If some of you have and you're very well aware of it, that's awesome. But guess what? I'm still learning. I'm not perfect. I learn new things every day. And this is one of those things that I learned. The jerk is circled in yellow. It began around 1846 UTC time and was detected by many magnetic observatories across the day side of Earth. The phenomenon is called magnetic crochet, or is it croquette? I think it's crochet. But radiation from the flare ionized the top of the Earth's atmosphere and caused currents to flow 60 kilometers to 100 kilometers above Earth's surface. These currents, in turn, briefly altered Earth's magnetic field. Everything returned to normal a few minutes later. Is that why we noticed the other day that we had a double Schumann resonance popping off? For those of you that remember the video, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. Both Schumann resonance, both the Tomsk, Russia, and the Cumiana, Italy Schumann, were both sounding off. And there was activity. And it was like, whoa. And for both of them to be going off, I knew something was going on. I just figured maybe it was our geomagnetic field or our poles moving, making our geomagnetic field weaker. However, apparently that's not the case. It was just a jerk from the flares. Folks, if we have one directly in front of us giving off a big enough X-flare with a coronal mass ejection coming with it, that's going to be like a double whammy. It's going to jerk our magnetic field if it's weak right now. And then within a couple of days of that coronal mass ejection hitting us, yeah, I don't even know what could happen. I mean, that could be like an EMP in certain areas possibly, depending on how the size of the X-ray from that flare, how big the X-flare is. I mean, if you're looking at an X10 or greater, yeah, I don't know. That would be something. Now, as we actually changed to today for spaceweather.com, check this out, folks. We have a comet to be looking for. Comet ZTF at perihelion. Comet ZTF hasn't been this hot in 50,000 years. At least that's what their prediction is. On January 12th, the comet makes its closest approach to the sun, perihelion, at 1.1 astronomical units. That's 1.1 the distance away from the sun. Solar heat has turned it into an easy target for backyard telescopes. However, it was discovered in March of 2022 by Zwicky Transient Facility. Comet ZTF has been falling towards the sun for more than 50,000 years. Now is its moment to shine. Proximity to the sun has brightened the comet to magnitude 6.5, almost visible to the unaided eye. Soon strike almost after perihelion, Comet ZTF heads towards Earth for a close approach on February the 1st. 0.28 astronomical units. That's basically a quarter of the distance between us and the sun. This will brighten the comet even more to projected peak magnitude of +5, visible to the naked eye, binoculars, and small telescopes. Between now and then, look for Comet ZTF before sunrise in the constellation Corona Borealis. Just to give everybody a little reference here, this right here is where Arcturus is. Okay, Arcturus is one of the brightest stars in the sky. This is early morning before sunrise. Okay, and then you've got the Big Dipper here. Here's the Booties galaxy, and that's where Arcturus is down here at the point. Corona Borealis is right up here, And this is where it's supposed to be. This little jobber right here. Okay, this is where it's supposed to be at. So it kind of looks like a horseshoe. All right. So in the morning sky before sunrise, if you get out, just look for the Big Dipper. In fact, you can actually download an app which would actually help you to find it. I actually have this app. It's called Skyview Free. Okay, I've got it. I've got an Android, so you can download Skyview, and you can actually look for the Bootes Galaxy or the Corona Borealis, and it should be able to pull right up for you and tell you where it's at. So you'll move your phone around and you'll be able to see it. And as soon as you find it on your phone, you can look in that region on February 1st, and you should be able to see where that comet is located. Moving on to spaceweatherlive.com, we're looking at our solar flares, and we have had quite a few today. Today we've had, let's see, from the 11th, we just missed the X1 that happened overnight. We had an M2.5, a 5.5, an M1.2, and an M3.1. None of these are Earth-facing, so we don't have any coronal mass ejections we have to worry about. But one of the things I do want to bring to y'all's attention is look at where we're living at. Okay, we're living in C flare, which means X flares are definitely possible. But if you see where it's at, it's going up. It's ramping up. The higher we are in C class, the higher we move into X flare status. Okay, so if we start getting up into the high C8, C9s, yeah, every time we have a flare, more than likely it would be an X flare. That's just how it goes. When it gets hotter and we got sun spots facing us that are really active, yeah, it's going to start popping X flares. And if they're facing us, we're going to have a coronal mass ejection to have to contend with, folks. Now, jumping over here to spaceweather.net. This is one of the things that I do like to use. Looking here at our Enlil model. Yes, that's Enlil, as in the Anunnaki wannabe god. We did have that. The most recent coronal mass ejection is going away from us. We're not even going to get a glancing blow out of it. So it looks like all is well there. When we back up to the main page, we can actually see that we can also see the ramp up here. It shows us where the X-ray radiation is. And I was down here looking at our real-time solar wind, and we're still really not much of an active region. We got a little bit active a couple of days ago, but nothing really major here today. Being right about, well, this will be the 12th, but right around in here, we had a little bit, just a little bit of instability, but there was no extra density. Our density was maybe 10 to 12 centimeters cubed of plasma. Our speed wasn't super high. The highest we got was maybe 475. So we're still looking good in that region. Nothing for me to even be concerned about. This was that flare that we just saw, that coronal mass ejection that I showed you on the Enlil model. This is the direction it went off of. So we're doing good there. So really, I think we're doing okay. However, I do want to say this. 3184, if anyone's ever been here, these are the different levels of the strength of the different sunspot regions. So you got a visible sunspot region, 3181. This has got beta gamma class of flare. Then you've got beta gamma delta. When you start getting beta gamma delta, those are the ones that can produce X flares. I don't know how up to date this is, but just yesterday when I was noticing, or actually earlier today, there was 3 of them that were beta gamma delta. So they might have decayed, a couple of them might have decayed a little bit. And I believe it was 3181 and 3182 might have decayed enough because they were at beta gamma delta earlier this morning. So that means they are the X-flare producers. They can definitely pop them off. So we do need to keep our eyes on this. And we have another region coming off, the southeast side and the northeast side. We're just not far enough ahead to be able to see them. Here's one that popped off, that X-flare. And we've got another one on the back side of the limb that we just can't see yet. As we look over here at stereo ahead, EUVI 195 angstroms of light, we can see all this bright region, both the north and the south. So there is a lot of activity going on over here, and that's going to be turning around and facing us here in the next 4 to 5 days. And we'll be able to start, we could actually start having the flares impact us, but maybe not necessarily the coronal mass ejections, unless there's a large enough solar tsunami with it. So we will have to keep our eyes right on the rim. And as always, folks, keep your eyes open, no fear, and remember that love is the only way forward.